And welcome back to the top 10 best movies of 2019 list. So my actual list right here, so I know what to reference, but I'll be able to reference it because it's all in order on the computer here. So I did my top 10 worsts going on a week ago, and now we're on to my top 10 best. And you're gonna see something at least somewhat similar with the top 10 best. Is that the top of the top, like the top three or four? They definitely are a couple steps above the rest of the list. Whereas the rest of the list it was a lot harder to kind of organize. Like, okay, which film did I like better than the other film, and this and that and this and that. So you'll kind of get my understanding of that as we go on. But let's just get into this right now. Hopefully, I won't go 40 minutes like I did the last time. So number 10, Yesterday. So Yesterday was an interesting type of movie. It was definitely one where it was a bit of a unique premise. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how this plays out. And I was pleasantly surprised by how well it actually ended up coming together, because you get a very realistic sense of how this would play out. Because this guy is basically a nobody. It's not like he's a guy who is that 100% Beatles fan who knows all their songs or anything. No, it's like he has to remember the lyrics. He has to remember the song titles. He has to remember all of those songs. And then he has to learn to play the instruments better than he already plays his instrument, and then go from there. And then you get into the moral issue of what he's doing. Is it right? And then you get a couple people who remember the songs. They're just happy to have the songs back. So it's very interesting to see how this all plays out. And I believe it's Dev Patel, if I'm remembering. I believe it's Dev Patel. Yeah, Dev Patel. He's fantastic. Lily James, she's wonderful in it. I'll even say Kate McKinnon was entertaining in it. Kate McKinnon might be my one gripe with them. I don't know what it is about Kate McKinnon. I don't really find Kate McKinnon all that funny. With some exceptions, like when she wasn't terrible in the Ghostbusters movie. She was just kind of obnoxious. And again, I get that vibe from Rebel Wilson. I had that vibe from Melissa McCarthy for a while, but she's grown as an actress, in my opinion. So I kind of give her leeway, and maybe those actors will get that too. Taraji P. Henson, I'll admit, she's an actress I also have an issue with in that regard. Kind of obnoxious, but at the same time, I get that from the guy. I don't know the actor's actual name off the top of my head, but the guy who plays Sheldon off the Big Bang Theory, just obnoxious no matter what. And I think it's his voice, honestly. Adam Levine's fine. There's a couple other actors who I'm like, I don't find you entertaining when you pop up on screen. I just don't like dealing with you. But yesterday was great. Obviously, it's got great music in it. It's the Beatles. Even if you're not a fan of the Beatles, you have to admit, most of their songs at least sound nice. Whether you'll actually like the songs or not is a different thing entirely, but they generally sound nice. And not everyone's a Beatles fan. Like, Mark's not the biggest Beatles fan. I like the Beatles just fine. Their songs are good. But I'm not in love with them. But still, Yesterday, that'd be my number 10. My number 9, best film of 2019. Shazam! So, Shazam is a film that the DC universe finally had a really, a legitimate, true, universally loved film. I mean, when you actually look at the box office, it's over $1 billion, highest grossing film in the DCEU, one of the biggest films Warner Brothers ever had. The critics liked it a lot more than most of the other ones, minus Wonder Woman, and the fans definitely liked it a lot more than a lot of the other ones. But Shazam had something to prove past that. Is Aquaman a fluke, or can we do more with this? And I'm confident to say, I'm proud to say, I feel they could do more with it. Shazam is a very different superhero film in general. I mean, it is big as a superhero film, but the kid can go back and forth. And what you do with that, how you can play up that trope, it's very interesting to see how it goes down. It's also a hilarious film. It's a very heartwarming film. They have some genuine moments of serious portrayal of of abandonment, emotions, issues along those lines, and dealing with some serious topics like worth, value. It's a little bit of great power, great responsibility. And why I put it above yesterday is, I'll admit, it's a comic book film. I can find that more rewatchable than, say, a non-comic book film a lot of times, just because I'm a nerd. But also, its values are a lot more present. It's just, there's a lot more laughs to be had. It's a lot more of a fun film. And in that regard, I think it is a bit of a better film than yesterday. Now, and the film didn't do bad. At the box, it did not bomb or do anything like that. It definitely didn't do as well as they were probably hoping, Warner Brothers, but it didn't do bad at all. But still, ultimately, it is only my number 9. So, number 8. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, hey, what's up, Hollywood? This is a film that right off the bat, I'll tell you why it is only at number 8. This film was way too long. And I don't mean that in the sense that it just went on for too long with a lot of stuff going on. No. I mean, there's points where there's just nothing happening. Like, there's just scenes of people driving or doing just stuff that doesn't need to be there. Like, I admit, the Bruce Lee stuff was fun, but you could have done without it in the movie. That's a whole 10 minutes you could have cut out of the movie just fine. Shave some of the driving stuff down, shave some of the length of the time the ads take. If you were to shave about half hour off this film, easily would have been a lot higher on my list. Because what at the heart of this film is Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, who I will be surprised if they don't at least get one of them doesn't get an award consideration. Because they were fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio has a couple scenes in this film that are some of the best acting I've seen all year. Both scenes involve the little girl actress. The one conversation he has right before he goes on the shoot, and then the scene where he basically just acts his heart out. And she's like, that's the best acting I've ever seen in my life. Thank you. And he just does it. Yeah, that's right. I still got it, man. I still got it. And yeah, I mean, it's a great slice of life kind of old Hollywood film. And obviously it's a bit of an altered history of certain events if you really watch what happens in there. And the ending, man, that ending, that's one of the most balls to the walls ending I've seen all year. Save for Endgame. And Endgame's ending is like, I don't think you're really going to be able to top Endgame's ending. No, I mean, it's the build-up is all worth it. Absolutely. So while, yes, it is much longer than it needs to be, it is still a damn good movie. Is it wouldn't Quentin Tarantino's best? I don't know if I go that far. Like Django, Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards, quite frankly. I'll be honest, I've never been a huge Kill Bill fan. I don't mind it. It's a good film, but I've never been a huge Kill Bill fan. Reservoir Dogs, those are the kind of movies that usually pop, or, Kill Bill. Those are usually the types of films that pop up into people's heads when I think the best of Quentin Tarantino. I don't think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's going to be in there, but it's still a good film nonetheless. So, number 7. John Wick Chapter 3. Parabellum. So, the John Wick films started off as a film that just came out of nowhere and then just created a franchise around itself, man. And man, oh man, is John Wick a fantastic franchise. And did Parabellum just keep ramping it up to a certain degree? I mean, where do you go after the second one where, he's pretty much taking on the entirety of New York? Well, why don't we just have the Continental turn into a battleground? Look, is it the best written movie? No. Is it the most heartfelt movie? No. But at the same time, that's not what the movie's supposed to be. It is supposed to be this very almost self-aware action movie where shit goes crazy and you and you're along for the ride. And with that, it becomes such a thrill ride. Like, you are never not having your eyes peeled to the screen, if that makes sense. You don't ever take your eyes away from the screen. You are enthralled with the action that's going. Now, if you're not a fan of these movies, obviously, you're not going to be in that kind of mindset. But you're never bored in this movie. You are constantly saying, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? So, and they just kind of up the fact that the dog fight sequence, probably one of the best fight sequences of the year. And then you get like basically the gauntlet, if you like to call it, of John fighting all the henchmen to get to the final bad guy. It's It's just a wild ride. And the reason that I just place higher is when you have to make a film like that, it's very easy for the action to get repetitive and boring. But with John Wick, that's never really the case. It is a film that keeps you riveted from beginning to end. And the action never seems like Michael Bay-esque, where it's gratuitous, where it's just visual noise. I think it's fantastic. I feel it deserves a spot at number 6. So, at number 9. So, at number 6, we have Fighting with My Family. So this is an odd one to be on the list. I'll admit that. Like, it just kind of randomly comes out of nowhere, doesn't it? But yeah, based off the real story of wrestler Paige, who got shot at going into the WWE, and she took it. And the trials she went through, the fighting with her family, the kind of fighting she had with her family on this. The issues she had with her brother. Well, how much of that is actually real? God knows. But it makes for this, first up, a very funny movie, a very real movie, and a very heartfelt movie. You feel for these people because they are real people. These are real people who went in there. Nick Frost is hilarious. Lena Headey is always a good time. I don't remember the actress who played Paige, but she's great. Vince Vaughn's got... See, Vince Vaughn is one of those guys that when he wants to do legitimate some acting, the guy can act. If you remember Hacksaw Ridge a couple of years back, the dude can act when he wants to. He's just, a comedian by nature. But it doesn't mean a comedian can't do other things. Look at Adam Sandler. He's a comedian by nature. But when the man wants to act, the man can act. And it translates well into this film. The best way I can describe this film, honestly, is, this is reality. This is how things go down. And sometimes it goes well for some people, sometimes it doesn't go well for other people. But that just because it doesn't go well for you doesn't mean you can't be supportive of the people it goes well for. And we see that throughout the movie that, it hurts her brother that he's not going to be one of those guys who can do it. He's basically a jobber is what he's going to be for a whole his life. And, he's kind of got to accept the fact that this wasn't his career goal. But ultimately, what are you going to do? And this was Paige's career goal, career, and he had to learn to be supportive of that. And I think the way they handled the family dynamics as well as the personal dynamics of trying to make it in that ring, in that industry, I thought is just beautifully handled. Now, I'll admit, something like John Wick or Shazam, I could probably watch more often than Fighting with My Family. But if you're asking me in terms of quality of film alone, I think, as a story, the characters, all that, I think I do have to give props where props is due. And I think it's got to be put where I put it. I think it's got to be at number 6. But with that said, now we're into it. The top 5 best films of 2019. Number 5. Rocket Man. Rocket Man. God, that's even I can tell that was way off pitch. Not key, off it. I think, just real subject, I think people kind of mistake the terms off pitch and off key. Like, let's do a Rocket Man, Rocket Man. That's both in pitch and key. I'm actually kind of imitating Elton John when he did that. When I went Rocket Man, that's more in key because that is the right keys and right notes to the beginning. It's just the pitch is completely shit. So yeah, I should have just opened Rocket Man, Rocket Man. She packed my bags last night, pre-flight, 0 hours 98. This is not me. I don't want to get flagged for singing a song. But no, Rocket Man. I feel like Rocket Man, so many people really appreciate it, but I feel like a lot of people kind of slept on it in terms of quality. For me, this is one I kept singing the songs right after. Yeah, they're Elton John songs, but I sang the songs for the movie for a few weeks after that. I still sing a couple of them every now and then in the car. I'm like, Saturday night's alright for fighting. Saturday night's alright. I'll just bust into that because first off, I do love Elton John music. But also, it's like, those are just good renditions of those songs. And Taron Egerton sang all those songs. Like, that was his legitimate way. The dude can sing. And it's really a fantastic telling of a story of a man and his struggles in the and of abuse, of substance abuse, addiction, and how it affected his career, his life, his relationships, and then how he ultimately overcame that and came back better than ever because he's still standing better than he did before, talking like a true survivor. Because he's still standing. It's like, absolutely. It's a fantastic way to tell a musician's story, I think. And I'm going to say the unpopular thing here. I think it's better than Bohemian Rhapsody. Yep. Get on it. I feel the shock, the odd, the hate. Good. Give in to your aggressive feelings. Look, here's the thing. When it is all actually said, first of all, Rami Malek did deserve the Oscar. He completely did. But when it's all said and actually done from a movie-telling perspective, Bohemian Rhapsody, yes, it's a good film, and then the last 20 minutes of live, it's fantastic. But when you really break it down, it really is like, I think a lot of people get on the high of that last 20 minutes when we realize, yes, it's a good film, and like, this is very in-depth and all that. And you're feeling the struggle to some degree, but what was Elton John's actual personal struggles when you break it down? Yeah, he probably did drugs, but it was more that he was a sex addict, and then he got AIDS. He trusted the wrong people, obviously. And ultimately, his story didn't have a happy ending. And that's all well and good, and that's important to remember. When you look at Elton John's story, the guy almost died. Like, I think, in fact, he almost died twice. We see that. He overdosed a couple times, and we almost lost him on several occasions. Yeah. In fact, yeah, now I remember in the movie, he nearly died twice. He nearly drowned and OD'd once. Then he almost OD'd on cocaine in the movie again. So he almost died twice. And he had to basically, I can't remember if this is legit. He walked down on the show to get help. If that was legit or if that was just for the movie. If that was legit, then yeah, this is the man who actually finally took control of his life again and made the right choices to get himself better. And to have it be told in such a cool musical style. By the way, I had someone in that review tell me, it's not a musical. Bullshit, it's not a musical. Tell them, when you are actually breaking out of the fabric of your storytelling to continue to tell a story in a song, and everyone is just singing along with that in a song sequence, that is a music and dance sequence. That's a musical. I don't understand how you think that's not a musical. When Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting plays, it's a kid just starts playing it, then he walks out into the street, goes to the carnival, turns into his teenage years, starts doing a choreographed dance number while singing it, goes back and finishes playing the song in the bar. So, yeah, it's a musical. I don't understand why someone didn't think it was a musical. Like, wait, what's your definition of a musical then? I'm curious on that. But Taron Egerton was fantastic. The songs are fantastic. The storytelling, I think, is beautiful. This is a real event. I mean, some of it might be played up for Hollywood, obviously, but this is real events that happened. Absolutely. So, on that regard, I loved them. I really did. I thought it was underrated. So yeah, it's definitely my number 5 movie of the year. But going into our top 4, number 4. How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, the final, at least for now, story in the How to Train Your Dragon saga. And look, it was a beautiful film to go out on. First off, these films are always gorgeous looking to just experience. But then there are characters that, if you've been, going with this series from the beginning, characters that you've grown up with, that you've grown to love. And to see where it ultimately ends up for them is both sad, but heart-wrenching, sad, uplifting, and beautiful, all wrapped into one. It is a story about the sacrifices we make for the things we love, ultimately, and what we can do to protect what we love, and what we have to do. And it really is just a gorgeous bit of storytelling in that regard. It's a kid's film too, but it's heavy. Like, I'm certain there were people crying at the end of that movie. That last few minutes is probably some of the best stuff we've had in that series as a whole. Even like the the TV stuff, and yeah. So it's I'm probably going to be short on this one, but on that ground, because it was a lot more of a wide ranging, not wide ranging. Its demographic branched out far than something like Rocketman did. I felt I just had to put it at number 3. Forcing me at number 4. I did. It is just a beautiful bit of storytelling. This is a film that if I had kids, I could easily sit down and watch it with them, and we could both enjoy it. I couldn't watch Rocketman with my kids, probably. I mean, maybe if I ever got them into Elton John, sure, but I'd maybe wait until they're at least 7 or 8 before we watch their Rocketman, just because of the drug references, at least. And like John Wick, fuck it, no, I'll wait till they're on the older side, not like teens, but wait till maybe like 10, 11, something like that. But other things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or I should mean like Shazam yesterday, that's all good. Once Upon a Time, I think I'll wait a bit longer on that one. So yeah, now How to Train Your Dragon is easily my number 4 film of the year. So with that said, we are now into our top 3 films of 2019. So with that said, number 3, the bronze medal goes to Avengers Endgame. You know it had to be on the list. You did. So Avengers Endgame, yeah, it's a film that it's a culminate. Look, on its own, maybe it wouldn't be as good. But because it is the culmination of 20 years of filmmaking, it really is a masterpiece in achievement. Now, I'll be flat honest. The first 2 acts are on the slow side. Definitely. No doubt about it. But they're still on the slow side with characters that you enjoy. Doing things that are at least make them fun to interact with. So, it definitely is. It's flawed, but even its flaws have merit. But ultimately, it comes down. It's about the landing. Can you stick it? Can you stick the landing? Can you finally make it all come together? And God damn it, they did. They certainly did. I mean, oh man, I'm running low on battery here. The last few minutes of Avengers Endgame, or last minute, not a few minutes, the last hour of Avengers Endgame is one of the most breathtaking, thrilling experiences you will ever have in a movie theater, ever. And it all culminates with that choice. Will you be the one to put yourself on the wire? And I am Iron Man, and then boom, saves the day. And Pepper looking at him saying, "Tony, look at me. We're going to be okay." And that being not just a message to Tony as the character, but honestly a message to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole that, no, Robert, even if he does come back, we'll be okay without you, Robert. We'll be okay. You get to rest now. You get to do the other things you want to do. Like Doolittle. Hopefully that does turn out to be a good movie. So ultimately, yeah, I mean, Avengers Endgame, and then, obviously Cap making a set, the funeral sequence, I Love You 3000, one of the most, that line, it didn't hit me emotionally that hard the first time I saw it, but the second time I saw it, and then the third time, I'm like, okay, yeah, that really does start to hit you hard after a while, like, damn it. Damn it. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna cry. And then, of course, the last bit of the Iron Man making his armor for the first time, that sound at the end of the credits, it was just a beautiful send-off. So, I mean, for everything that accomplished, Avengers Endgame, number 3. But now we're into it, the final 2. So at number 2, the silver medal goes to 2019, Knives Out, baby. This was a film that I'm like, oh, this is cool. It reminds me a bit of like Murder on the Orient Express, but it's an original film concept of murder mystery. All right, let's see what we got here. Damn it, they made a film that is engaging, that is funny, that is suspenseful, that you really don't know the actual who did it near the end until they realize, okay, it all makes sense now. And the hints are all laid out there for you too, if you're really paying attention. But you're on this ride with this Beau LeBlanc, Daniel Craig character. I love the fact we're going to get a sequel to this movie now with Beau LeBlanc again. or maybe it'll be more Knives Out, more Knives Out 2, all of the Knives Out. Who knows? But the fact is, you get this compelling. This is all direction, by the way, acting and direction. That is all this movie is, and god damn it, I'm loving the fact that it is getting at least some awards consideration. Because what Rian Johnson did proved that, yeah, maybe you didn't like Last Jedi, but Rian Johnson, don't blame him for that. He's a damn fine director, and this film went on to prove it, man. This film, it takes twists and turns you're not sure about. And you're like, oh, this happened. So you're like, okay, so this isn't what happened. Then they throw you another curve. I like the line in the movie where it's like, okay, this donut has a hole in it. That hole is just for another donut with a bit smaller hole in it. Oh, man, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. This is a film that I could easily watch over and over again. I only saw it the one time. I really should have gone back. I still could go back to see it multiple times. But still, great film. Loved it. I'm glad we're going to be getting more of this film. I hope we can turn this into a franchise. But ultimately, that's not what we're here to talk about. That is my number 2 film. So what is my number 1 film? Well, if you've been watching me for a little while now and know what I've been saying is in my top 10, you'll actually know what the number 1 is. The number 1 film of the year, in my opinion, Ford v. Ferrari. This is a film that, I'll admit, I didn't actually know the history on this because I'm not a big history buff or an automotive buff. So I wouldn't really be someone who would be inclined to know the history on this. But when Ford went to Le Mans, man, and basically they had to hire Shelby and Ken Miles to fix his car, and the dicking around that Ford did on them. Not necessarily Ford himself, like the guy who owns it, but like the guy he put in charge, like the dicking around they did to those guys, and ultimately how it all came together. It was like, even though it's history, like we know it, apparently if you knew the history, you know how it went. But if you didn't know the history, I didn't know how it went. So I'm like, damn. All right then. Yeah. Woo. And then the ending, we're like, oh, I didn't know that happened. Crap. It's like, NASCAR racing, it's not one of those things that's, or stock car racing. It's not one of those things that is that interesting to watch as like a sport, but it's kind of like for me, basketball. I don't find basketball that interesting to watch when it comes to watching it on TV as a sport or going to a game or something. But when you put it in cinematic form, it is intense. Stock car driving is no exception. That's emotional. People will die in that all the time. And it is just tense. Still funny in the right spots, though. Heartfelt in the right spots as well. You really got a sense that these weren't the actor. These were the characters you're watching. You didn't see Christian Bale. You didn't see Matt Damon. You saw Shelby Cooper. I think whatever Shelby, and you saw Ken Miles. You saw these characters, and you saw what they went through to make this dream a reality. John Bernthal, he's in the film too. I don't think he gets enough credit. It's only a side character, but damn it, I love seeing John Bernthal show up and stuff. He played Ayatollah, and he was fantastic in the movie. So many people deserve so much credit for this movie. I hope this and Knives Out are like some of my the two favorite movies I have for the year. I hope they get a decent amount of awards consideration. Maybe not like win all the awards, but I know they won't. But at least some awards consideration. So that is my favorite film of the year. Ford v. Ferrari is my number 1. You'll notice too, by the way, that Joker's not on this list. Real quick on that. I said it before in the review, but I'll bear it again. It bears repeating, especially for this video, because I know it's going to be on a lot of people's top 10s. It's one of those films. First, I didn't hate the film. I liked Joker, but it is one of those films actually similar to Uncut Gems, where it's good. It's like I recognized how good the film I'm watching is, but I'm actually uncomfortable and don't feel comfortable watching parts of this film. Like this is making me feel uncomfortable. And I kind of don't want to look at what I'm watching right now, but I know I have to, and I can't peel my eyes away from that. And because of that, I respect them for what they did, but at the same time, like, I don't know if I can watch that film again, quite frankly. Like, it's kind of grounded in a realistic way that's like very uncomfortable in some respects. So, I recognized how good the film I was watching was. Joaquin Phoenix, I swear to God, if he doesn't get at least a nomination, I will be shocked. And from what I understand, Todd Phillips might not be getting a director nomination, which that's fair, but I feel like Joaquin better be getting a best actor nomination. So Joker, I recognize how great the film actually is. To me, I just liked it, and that was about it. But ultimately, though, this is my list. What does your list look like? Who knows? Put in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll get to a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Super Magic, what if, anything new in the channel, put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So this week is actually just a regular scheduled week. So who would win tomorrow? A Lantern video on Tuesday, a what if on Thursday, or Wednesday. Nothing set for Thursday. Another who would win on Friday, a what if on Saturday, the box office on Sunday, a review, at least 2 reviews, or at least 1 review, and hopefully 2. And I got the pre-release, Theros Beyond Death pre-release on Saturday. So just keep your eyes out. I will have a review for that on Saturday. Till then, though, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.